Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Nature Angel. I am glad that you are here. If you are coming back, hello. If you are new, welcome. Today at work, it was one of my meeting days, one of the child study meeting days, and I just realized I don't think I ever did a video on how you should survive those days because they are long, they can be brutal, and they just take up a lot of time. So I want to give you five quick tips for how to survive your IEP meeting days, your child find meeting days, your child study days, whatever you call them. I want to give you tips on how to survive that. So I think I touched on some of the things I'm gonna say in multiple videos, but I haven't done one concise video. So the first thing that I think is really important if you are going into this meeting is if you're talking about a child that already is receiving support, don't retest them. If you think that the support that they are getting is helping them and it is going well, keep them in those services. And this is why, because if you try to reevaluate them, they might not be eligible anymore for services. And that could be for a variety of things. Sometimes it's good. It is good because it's like, oh my gosh, you're doing so much better. But at the same time, it could be because they have those supports in place. And that is why they are performing so well. So if you take them away, then the kid over time might slowly start to not perform as well as they're performing. And that's the point of these meetings, in my opinion. Like, are they doing okay? Does something need to be changed for their service? If something does not need to be changed, then don't retest them. Like, there's no reason to retest, even if it's old, but you have data from, let's say, the classroom teachers and people who are with them every day, and it's kind of matching up with what was said years ago, and they are using the supports that they're using now, then there's no reason to retest because we're not asking for a change in the services they are receiving. The second thing, because I know this happens way too often, and I know this happened to me, do not let people, especially if they are someone, maybe like another teacher or a principal in your school, do not let them try to get you to do unethical things. So sometimes, even at like a meeting, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you're in a meeting and everyone in the meeting, like before you have it, they're telling you like, don't say certain things that are in your report because, I don't know, a parent's gonna be there or someone special is gonna be there, or they want you to leave out certain information because they don't want to look bad. Things like that. Our whole job is to help the kid. And also though, ethically, we don't want to lie about things. And if you went to court, you're not going to lie. So if, for example, you're in a room and it's a loud room that you tested in and that may have messed up the results, write that in your report. Write your reports like they are going to court. That way, it's like I said in there that I tried my best under the conditions that I could, but it was loud in that room and that could have affected the results, and it may not be the best representation of the student's ability, and there's not much you can do. We already have limited space. There's not much you can do about that. But if someone in your school is telling you not to put that in a report because it'll make them look bad, like that's not a reason. Or if they're saying don't put that in the report because a parent's gonna hear that and then the parent is going to freak out, it's like, well, if that is the truth, if this is what happened, then that's what's gonna go in the report. Basically what I'm trying to say is don't try to cover for anyone. Stick to the truth and stick to what is going to best help the child. The third thing is make sure that parents know their rights and their risks when it comes to these meetings. So for example, a lot of parents always think they have to sign consent no matter what. If the team says they want to test, a lot of parents think, oh my gosh, so I have to agree to test. No, they do not have to agree to test. And I really think that they should know that, because some parents genuinely don't, and then they feel pressured and then they realize later and they're like, why did no one tell me that I did not have to agree to evaluate my kid? So I personally, if the parent seems like they're kind of on edge about it and no one else is telling them, I'm gonna tell them, like, this is up to you. You have that choice. Also, let them know the risks. Like, a lot of parents will just agree because they're like, oh, it's fine, sure, test. I already know my kid has this IEP and they're gonna keep it. Well, no, if we retest and the data is different, then, you know, they might lose those services. They should know the risk of what could possibly happen if they're going into test. And that's a big reason why I don't like retesting students that I know need the services, because it's like, I don't want to go in and retest the kid that I know is benefiting from this, and then they don't qualify based on the scores that they have now, even though we all know they need those services and those services are helping them. But also on top of that, if that does happen, let the parents know that even if the school decides, well, they aren't going to qualify for services, the parent can say, I do not agree with that and I do not consent to take them out of special education. Now, I'm not sure if this applies to every state, but in Virginia, it does apply. So make sure to keep that in mind. And again, each state, each district, they might have a little bit of different rules and how that works, but you know your rules and regulations, and I think that it's important for us to also inform the parents on that, because a lot of them don't know and they just go along with it and they might feel trapped, and I don't think that's fair to them. The fourth thing is, if you are in these meetings, don't be the main one making decisions. I know a lot of the time it seems like it's us. Everyone says their reports, the social history, you have the psychological, you may have speech, people who do observations, counselors, whole slew of people, and all that information is needed to make a decision. So the decision making should not be just on the school psychologist to say this kid is going to have that disability. Now, we can say we believe this kid has said disability. What does the rest of the team think? And me personally, I like hearing from at least one or two other people first. And I already have an idea of what, you know, I am thinking, but I like to hear what the other people say, because I don't want to say something and then have everyone else just be like, sure, yeah, like whatever you say, because it's not my decision, it's a team decision. And even if people have different opinions on it, I think everyone should say how they feel about it, because it's really important. And then, you know, explain why if it's different than the consensus of everyone else. The last thing, the fifth thing that I cannot stress enough, and it kind of goes back to that first point I made, do not test everyone. I know there are some schools and they think that if there's any problem that comes up, oh, well, we should test the kid just to make sure. We should test the kid just to rule it out. And it's like, no, that is not why we test kids. If that was, we'd be testing every kid. What we do on our IQ test, our achievement test, our rating scales is a little snapshot. And we need a whole bunch of other information before we even get to that snapshot. How are they doing in class? Are they not doing well? Did you do interventions? Even if you did do interventions, were they provided at an instructional level where it wasn't too hard or too easy? Did you provide those interventions all the time, consistently, in the same way? And do you have the data to show that as well, that it was provided in that way? Also, attendance plays a big factor. Was the kid gone most of the time? If the kid is gone for like 4 years altogether and they're in 12th grade, of course they're not going to perform at a 12th grade level. And that's not necessarily due to having disability. But if you are missing the core foundation and you're missing all these elements throughout your education, you are going to struggle and you are going to be behind. And that has nothing to do with being a kid that needs specialized instruction and having a disability. So I think that it's really important to not just say, okay, and test everyone, because there's a bunch of things we can do before that. And after those things are all ruled out, and after we've done the interventions, and if the kid is still struggling and there's data to prove the kid is struggling, then yes, then test them. And that should get rid of so much of your workload if you are at a school where they don't have a system set up that way. So please, if you can, try to do that. I know it's really hard if you don't have a school that is set up with a multi-tiered system of support where they kind of do that already. You know, everyone gets this education. Oh, they're starting to struggle, do interventions. Oh, that's not working. Well, then we're going to try to get special education and see if that could help. So yeah, that's what I have today. I was inspired because just sitting in the meetings, I was like, there are some things that I really like, and then there are other things that I feel like should change. And everyone has a different experience. So I was like, you know what? This would be a good video to do. So that's what I decided to do. I do hope that this was helpful. I hope that it's useful, especially I feel like it's really going to be helpful for people maybe an internship that are learning about this, and for people where it's your first year and you're trying to see like, oh my gosh, how is this supposed to go? How can I contribute? Because the more meetings that I'm in, the more comfortable I get, and you just learn as time goes on. You never stop learning. So that's what I picked up so far, and who knows, maybe in like 5-10 years I'll have even more things. And I know there's people who've been there longer or even working a shorter amount of time than I have, and they have knowledge on things that I don't have. Please leave that knowledge down below if you have anything that you want to share, because I'd love to hear it, and I know other people would love to see it too. So I thank you so much for watching. I really do enjoy doing this, and I enjoy seeing, you know, you guys watch this, and when you comment or message me, it means a lot. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that this helped. I'll see you next time, for the next video, and when the next video is coming out, I did write something down below in the description, so check that out and it'll tell you when the next video is coming out on here, okay? All right, I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.